the founding fathers had more miracles take place to found this nation than we can even. I was just reading about the tornado that hit during 1814 when Washington was burning. Mm-hmm. And that tornado hit, and the amount of rain that fell extinguished the fires. Mm-hmm. Washington, they said he was the man that couldn't be killed. Mm-hmm. That literally Indian braves would give up shooting at him. The sharpshooters would give up shooting at him because they couldn't take him down. Right. And then the fog that came in at New York and Long Island. And so I'm sitting here in the state of our nation and I'm going, the Spirit of God empowered the founding fathers to take up arms and to fight. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right.
And to fight for what they believe in. And so I fully believe, and if you want to take a stance of peace, you can take that stance of peace, but you also have to acknowledge the people like me that are willing to go into a combat zone and fight and die for your country. So are we just going to throw that out the water and say, well, Christians can't fight for anything? Because I did. No. And so that's where I think we have to shift our focus here in America of the founding fathers and what they fought for, and going, they were willing to fight and die for it and be men of fasting and prayer that relied on the Spirit of God, which showed up in miracle form, just like in the book, or just like in Exodus, just like through the Bible.
Yeah.
So I think that's the first thing. And then I think the second thing is that we have to remember that every one of the disciples was brutally murdered for their faith. Mm. Brutally murdered. And in America, we live a very safe life, and I think we live under a guise of fear because we think that if we stand for anything, or if we call out sin, or if we have any conviction about anything, it's not loving. Mm-hmm. That is the most anti-Jesus thing that we could possibly do. Mm-hmm. That man stood in front of the Pharisees and said, "You're snakes and you're broods of vipers." Okay. And he rebuked them for their sin, and he stood for what he believed in, and he pulled out a whip and he whipped people. I mean, the understanding that we have of Jesus and the man that he was and how fierce he was while being the most loving and embracing man. Like, that's who we're called to be, the gentle warrior who will fight for what he believes in, but will also be so safe to love.